Nice and wide out to the sides, arms down by the side. And just close your eyes. And we'll just take a few moments here, just drawing your attention inward. Maybe bringing your attention to your breath. And just trying to soften the breath. Allow the head to be heavy and relax the shoulders. Relax the pelvis and the lower back. Allow the ankles to be heavy and the feet to flop out to the sides. And just try to clear the mind of any thoughts. Try to do that throughout the practice, just being aware of your thoughts. And you don't have to not have any thoughts. It's just about choosing not to engage with your thoughts, allowing them to just pass through. And maybe you'll have a few moments with no thoughts. And it's just about choosing whether to engage or not. And always just bringing your attention back to your breath. And also just remembering in Yin that we just don't want to go to our full capacity, so going to our 80%. So you're not engaging your sort of stronger muscles that you might use in other practices. We're drawing back and using your props as much as possible to support you so you can relax more. So it's a different quality. And always listening, questioning the sensations. We don't want to be in pain. We don't want any sort of sharp pain. But if there's something that maybe you can breathe through and feel yourself relaxing, then that's okay. But there should never be sharp pain or anything, and you should just slowly come out of something if it becomes too much. And also remembering that as we stay in a posture, we're staying very still, and the intensity of the posture will become more strong. So always coming out a bit early is completely fine if you need to. Just always being aware of how you're feeling. Good. So when you're ready, we'll just roll over onto one side and make your way up to kneeling. And then we'll come down into a variation of child's pose. So we want to try and keep our knees quite close together. But you don't, if that's too uncomfortable, you can bring the knees and the feet out a little bit. And also remember there's an option to bring a cushion between the hips behind you like this, which can just give a bit of extra support. And you can also bring something for your chest or for your head. But yeah, just try not to make it too wide this time. And think about lengthening from the base of the spine, folding from the pelvis, drawing the belly down towards the thighs, and then keeping the spine long, and the head can come down. And so if usually that feels a bit uncomfortable, that's where a prop for your head can just be a bit of a nice support. And then you can just relax the arms down by the sides, palms facing up. And just allow the head to be heavy, supported by the prop. And again, if it feels too much in the hips, you can move the knees out a little bit. That's fine. And then just coming to stillness when you find your position. And just gently thinking about the length in the spine, allowing the sit bones to relax, the hips to sink down towards the floor, the forehead to sink down towards the floor. Maybe just observing your breath, checking that that you're not holding the breath. Breathing into any areas that still feel a little bit tight. Not making any judgments of where you are or what position you're in. just being and observing the sensations in the body. Just gently thinking about your energy going out through the top of the head. Spine is long. And hips are sinking, relaxing. Enjoying the support of your props. Good. And then when you're ready, we'll slowly come out. Take your time. And you might just want to have some props up in front of you. And we'll make our way down into seal. So we'll come to lying down on our fronts. Try to keep the feet together, relaxed on the backs of the feet. And then we'll bring our elbows in line with our shoulders. So make sure they're not too far forward or too far back. So right in line with the shoulders, as wide as the shoulders. And then just press the hips and the belly into the floor. And just lengthen up through the spine. And just send the gaze forward. So the head isn't straining up or down. You might want to look sort of down a little bit. Just find what feels right for your neck. Yeah. You are sort of holding yourself in a position so it's not completely relaxed. So you are sort of, and you can gently press into the hands to just help sort of keep the body up. Using the shoulders to help prop you up. If this feels too much and it's really too tiring, you can also bring a prop under the chest, like just sort of wedging a pillow a little bit under the chest, and that will just make it a bit easier to hold the body up. So that is an option if you're it's a bit much in the shoulders. I said it shouldn't be painful. And here you can just think about relaxing your lower back, really sort of just gently pressing your hips and your pubic bone, the belly into the floor. And you probably feel quite a bit of compression in the lower back, sort of everything squeezing in, but that's okay. So we'll release it. And just try not to collapse here, so try not to collapse down into the shoulders, keep lengthening up like a sphinx. Make sure you're still breathing. The breath is steady. Noticing the backs of the feet and the backs of the legs on the floor, and just checking that you've not tensed up too much. Sometimes we can grip a lot here in the glutes or the thighs, so we are pressing the hips down, but try not to be using those muscles too much, so we're not really engaging the thighs too much. You can relax your thighs, relax the glutes. Just keep lengthening up. Keep breathing, keeping the breath nice and deep and full, but you don't need to force it. You don't need to make it like a really strong breath. Just enough to keep you nice and relaxed. You don't want to be holding the breath. Maybe just seeing if you can lengthen a bit further, increase that compression in the lower back. Good. And just taking another few more breaths here, if that feels okay. Drawing the shoulder blades down the back, gently pressing the forearms into the floor, relaxing the legs, checking you're not gripping. Good. And then slowly removing any props you have. And we'll slowly come down, so we'll just move our elbows out to the sides and relax the head down, forehead on the hands. And then you can just allow the feet to flop out to the sides, so the ankles on the outside, completely relaxing everything here. Relaxing the shoulders. Relaxing the hips and the pelvis. Really make sure you're not gripping in your thighs. The thighs are completely relaxed. The glutes are relaxed. And just noticing, just being as still as you can. Just enjoying the release of the posture, not having to do anything. Just keeping the breath nice and steady, nice and fluid. Good. And then when you're ready, we'll slowly come back up. And this time we'll come up into seal. So again, there is an option here if it feels too much to put some props under the belly. Or if not, bringing the arms about as wide as the mat, spreading the hands nice and wide. And this time just bringing the body up a bit further. So this time keeping the hips on the floor, but bringing the belly up if possible. Spreading the hands nice and wide. And again, just working out where you want to have your head. So you don't want to be looking up or down too much. You don't want to be straining in the neck, just finding the position that feels right for you. And just gently pressing those hips into the floor, relaxing the legs, relaxing the glutes, and bringing your attention back to your breath. Trying to keep nice and long in the body. And remembering, as I said before, if it feels too much, feel free to use some props under the chest, under the belly, to help, just help a bit there, some extra support. Because if it feels like it's too much that you just can't relax into the posture, then use the support because it's there to help you relax. Yeah, there's no point if it's too much and you're kind of stressing out in a posture. So just keeping the breath nice and steady. Checking that you're not gripping in the thighs so the legs can be gently relaxed. Reaching up. You might want to slightly bend in the elbows. Trying to keep space in the chest, keeping the shoulder blades down the back, reaching forward. You can always think about your breath and think about making your exhale a little bit longer than your inhale, seeing how long you can make your inhale. See if you can pause for a few moments before you need to inhale, before you need to exhale. Choosing to be in control of the breath. And just taking a few more breaths if that's okay for you. Relaxing the legs, checking the thighs haven't started to grip and that the glutes are relaxed as well. Good. And then when you're ready, very slowly, we'll ease ourselves back down, coming back down into crocodile. So removing any props. Take your time, moving the arms out to the sides, resting the forehead down on the palms, turning the ankles out to the sides, relaxing the belly, relaxing the hips, pressing the hips down into the floor. Maybe just take an extra nice big breath and think about sending the breath all the way down to your lower back, filling that area with the breath. And as you exhale, just allow everything to release, let go, making sure you're not holding the glutes or the thighs. The thighs are completely relaxed. And try to relax the lower back as well. Gently pressing the hips into the floor. Just releasing everything. Enjoying the complete stillness here. Good. And when you're ready, we'll slowly make our way up to kneeling, so coming onto all fours, taking your time, going nice and slow. Good. And from here, we're going to set up for saddle. So saddle is the one where we try and bring our calves out to the side, bring our hips underneath, and we come back. And so I would really encourage you, unless you know that you're completely fine in this one, to set up a few props for your lower back, especially your lower back and maybe your head as well. So definitely at least a cushion for under the lower back. You might want to put an extra one there, and you can always take it away. And if this is really uncomfortable for your legs, or you feel like it's too much, there is also an option to go one leg at a time. So option one is to come back like this, and we walk our hands back. This is where you want to just have your prop really close to your lower back, so that you can just rest down. And you might want to just work here, not bring the head back, or if you want, you can bring the head back, preferably onto a cushion. As I said, if this is tight on your knees or your thighs, you can also do one leg at a time. So carefully coming onto one side and stretching one leg out. And that just makes it a little bit easier, a bit more space. And I'll tell you if you've done that when to swap. So slowly coming down and relaxing the head back. And you have an option here to have your arms down by your sides, palm facing up. Or you can bring the arms above the head and either hold opposite elbow or just relax the arms along the floor, trying to just make sure the shoulder blades are down the back. You're opening the chest. And it's just nice to have someone for your arms to rest as well. So if your arms are a bit high, you can always bring an extra cushion or a blanket. Just try to make sure your prop is supporting your lower back if needed. If you don't feel like you need it, you can take it away. Good. So once you find the position for you, just coming to stillness and relaxing. Good. And also remembering if you do have your arms above you and you start to have any sort of tingling or discomfort, you always just bring the hands back down by the sides. That is an option. Just bringing your attention into the body and noticing how you feel, where you can feel different sensations. Can you let go a bit Can you relax a bit deeper? Relaxing the lower back, feeling the support of your prop there. The props are there to sort of reassure you and help you to relax. So when you have them, it's like giving yourself into them, feeling that support and trusting them, allowing the body the extra time to slowly relax. It doesn't matter if it happens after a few minutes. It can take that long for something to just feel comfortable enough to relax. So just sitting with it and allowing that to happen. Maybe taking your mind off where you can feel any tension and just allowing it to release in its own time. Just checking that you're not holding the breath. And the head is heavy. And if you have one leg out, you feel free to swap your legs round now at this point. If your arms are above you and you feel like it's become a bit intense, you can always remove or bring the arms back down by the sides. And also, if it's just become too much at this point, feel free to slowly come out. As I said before, the position can become more intense the longer we stay in it. If you're fine and it's just manageable for you, then just staying here, staying still. Feeling the shins on the floor, the knees relaxed. Good. And then very slowly we'll come out of the posture. So if your arms are above you, bringing them back down by your side. And you may want to just arch your spine up a bit further, so sending your gaze sort of behind you, just to release that spine a little bit for a moment. And then bringing your head back to neutral. Try to breathe down to your belly and gently engage your core. And then very slowly, tucking the chin to chest, engage the core, and very slowly use your hands to very slowly bring the body back up. Take as much time as you need. Really go even slower than you think you need to go. Quite a deep stretch there. Coming back, walking, bringing the body forward. Taking your time. Again, we'll just get some props ready. So if you want to have a prop, we'll come down into child's pose again. So if you want to bring a prop underneath the legs, underneath the hips, feel free to do so. Bringing a prop for the forehead or the chest. It can also be nice if you're quite, if you feel there's quite a big gap when you fold, to have like a blanket here as well, sort of in the crease of the hips, so that when you come down, your belly has somewhere to rest. That's also a nice option to try. And just slowly coming down, relaxing the head, relaxing the arms down by the side. Take a nice deep breath into the whole back, into the whole body. As you exhale, just relaxing. Feeling the length of the spine. Try to think about keeping the spine long. Again, feeling the support of your props. making any adjustments you need. If you need to bring your knees a little bit wider, if it feels uncomfortable, there shouldn't be any sharp pains or anything. Just thinking about lengthening through the base of the spine to the top of the head. Allowing the upper body to sink down towards the feet, towards the thighs. Relaxing the shoulders. Just feeling the length of the spine. And when you're ready, slowly walking your body back up. Good. Now from here, we're going to set up for shoelace. So we want to have our hips, we want to be on our sit bones, and if you have some cushions, I would recommend having some cushions close by on either side. And we're going to have our right leg underneath and our left leg on top. And what we want to do is try and stack our knees. So we'll bring our left ankle sort of over our right knee. So you're trying to keep your knees and your ankles of both feet in line. And then here, this is where, especially for me, I have quite tricky for me. So I have quite a few cushions here. And you can have a cushion in between the legs here, and maybe one underneath the bottom one as well. So it's quite intense on your hips. So use the cushions. Yeah. If you might not need them, you might not need as many. And you might want to use your hand just to gently help that top foot get in position. And if you can, just keep that top foot flexed. And that just helps with the whole angle of the posture. And really just using the props as much so that you can keep both sit bones on the floor. Good. And you're just finding, and then from here you might just want to work to find your nice tall spine. And just taking a few breaths, breathing into it. If you're quite confident here and you feel quite comfortable, feel free to hinge forward and lean forward. But you might just want to work here, settling the hips. It's quite intense. So you might just want to bring the hands onto the legs and just think about lengthening through the spine and just thinking about externally rotating in the hips, just opening the hips, feeling the support, feeling the safety of your props on your knees and your knees. And just thinking about length in the spine. The more you lengthen in the spine, just allowing everything else to relax. And you can also just help to take your mind off any sort of slight discomfort you have in the hips as you're getting used to it. Just think about lengthening the spine, relaxing the shoulders. Good. And just keeping the breath nice and steady. Just going to check everyone. Good, yeah. Good. Yeah, so there shouldn't be any sharp pain or anything like that. As I said, this is something that a lot of people find quite challenging because it's not a way that we sit often. But it's something that if you practice a lot, it does become more easy. Good. So just keep lengthening up. And so it can be helpful to use the hand on the flexed foot just kind of show the foot and the hip where you want everything to be. And keep lengthening. And again, just maybe closing the eyes and observing any sensations that you feel. And can you let go? Can you invite something to relax a bit more? Can you find any pleasure in the stretch? Relaxing the thighs, relaxing the hips. Good. And when you're ready, we'll slowly come out of this. So you might want to remove your props from underneath the top knee. And then I'd encourage you to use your hands to help just bring that top leg down nice and slowly. And also just slowly maybe helping the underneath leg. And you might want to just bring the legs out in front of you. And what we'll do is we'll just bring the hands behind us. And you might just want to do your own thing here, stretching through the legs, or we can just do windshield wipers, just very slowly bringing the legs to one side, taking it very slow, just sort of doing what feels right for you. It doesn't have to be fast, just releasing everything, keeping the breath going. Good. And again, you might want to straighten the legs out and just do some circles, just whatever feels right for you. Might want to give the legs a pat down, even. Good. Great, so we'll set up for the other side. So just getting any cushions or bolsters or whatever you need. And this time bringing the left leg underneath. So making sure your hips are square, flexing the left foot, and just trying to relax that hip down, inviting that knee down towards the floor. And then taking the right foot in your hand, you can bring the hand underneath, flexing the foot, and trying to bring it just onto the knee or on just over the knee, keeping it flexed. And then here, if you have a big gap like I do, taking some cushions and just using them there in between, and maybe one underneath the other knee, and just trying to square the hips again. So it's important that the underneath leg doesn't really come, you don't want to bring it too close into the groin, you want to try and keep that nice and open as well, so that both legs are sort of doing the same thing. If you look down, directly down, you should see a sort of triangle. There's roughly the sort of shape you want underneath here. Good. And then finding your position. And once you find it, somewhere where you can just rest, think about lengthening up through the spine. And either just staying here, keeping the shoulders relaxed and lengthening the spine. Or as another option is to fold forward, if that feels available to you. Otherwise, just keeping lengthen the spine. You can close the eyes if you like. Just bring your attention inward. Of course, if anything feels too much at any point, coming out of the posture. But really making sure you've used as many props as you need, because that will really help to relax. Because as I said, it's something that we don't really do that often, so the hips can be a bit, you might tense up if they don't feel supported. So just using the support. Feeling the breath down to the belly. And just remembering the 80% rule as well, so not forcing anything, not pushing yourself into anything where it feels too much, and always coming back at least 20% so you can work in that. To be working in a place where it feels okay for you, you can breathe and you can relax. And to relax any muscles. We're working more deeply into the joint. Just try and keep the shoulders soft and the jaw soft. You're not holding any tension there. So the jaw, any tension in the jaw can be related to tension in the hips. So just making sure that the shoulders are relaxed. And you're remembering to keep the spine long. And just observing any sensations that come. Good. And when you're ready, we'll slowly come out of it. So you might want to hold the top leg and slowly move your props. And then use the hands to slowly bring that top leg down. Going really, really slow because there's no harm going nice and slow. And again, you might want to just roll through the ankles, do what you need to do. Maybe do the windscreen wipers if that feels good for you. You just come up, the hip can just come off. Maybe it's just stretching a little bit into the back, into the shoulders. Just releasing anything. Good. And so the next position we're going to do is deer. So the deer is, I'll show it from this side and the other side. So we're bringing our front leg at a sort of 90-degree angle. So your left leg at a 90-degree angle. And the back leg can just fold in. So you don't need to straighten it out. You just want to try and ideally have both sit bones on the floor. So when I have both sit bones on the floor, my left knee comes up a bit. So you're welcome to pop a couple props underneath there so that you can feel your sit bones. And you just want to try and, so when you look down now, you kind of have like a slightly off-center square sort of under when you look down. So you've got space here. And the shin is facing forward, sort of along the top of the mat. Good. So option one is to just stay up here like this, if this feels enough, and just relaxing the hips. If you can, keep this front foot flexed. And option two is to maybe bring some more props in front of you. And you can think about leaning forward, maybe bringing the head down if that feels comfortable. Or another option is maybe coming onto your elbows and holding the head. Just finding what works for you. Or you may want to twist a little bit round to the side. That is also an option. And maybe lean a little bit down towards the side. A few variations. But just choose one and then come to your stillness there. So here we're externally rotating our front hip and internally rotating our back hip. And just try to feel that rootedness of the sit bones on the floor and the folding coming from the lower back. So not rounding sort of too much, just finding what works for you. Coming to stillness. Again, remembering you're 80%, so not forcing anything. Observing the sensations that you feel and not forcing anything, drawing back if anything feels too intense. Being kind to yourself, not forcing anything, and just allowing the stillness to present sort of where you can feel things. Sometimes you just be nice and still. And just relaxing a little bit more. And you can identify really where you want to be working on. And just keeping the breath nice and fluid. Up to the chest, down to the belly. Good. Good. And then we'll slowly come out. So if you have used any props and your head's down, just very slowly use your hands to walk the body back up. And we'll just bring our back leg round to the front. Nice, really, really slowly, taking your time. Again, you might want to release your legs, flexing and rolling through the feet, releasing anything, maybe giving the thighs a little squeeze. Just doing what feels right for you. And then we'll bring our left leg behind us and bring our front leg in front. Again, trying to be on your sit bones. It's okay if you really can't be on both sit bones here. The main thing is, I guess, is that you want your front leg in this right angle. So shin sort of parallel to the top of your mat and flexing the foot. And then if your knee is up here, you can bring something underneath. And that can just maybe give you a bit more space to send the back leg back a bit. And then just working out what way you want to work. So maybe just lengthening up here, keeping that front foot flexed. Maybe thinking about hinging forward and then seeing if you need some props here to rest on. Or maybe going a little bit to the side. It just turns the stretch a little bit more. It's a bit easier for me to go on this side, so everyone's hips are different. So working out where you want to work. And just remembering, so our front hip here is rotating outward and we're opening up the hip. The back hip is internally rotating. So we're doing different things here. So there should be quite different sensations, maybe in the hips. But just coming to stillness. Maybe closing the eyes, bringing your attention back to your breath. Maybe just trying to relax the hips here. It might be your back leg that feels more intense on one side than the other. And you can also always take layers off as you go. If you feel like you relax quite a lot, sometimes it can happen really quickly where you just find a nice release and then you feel like you can maybe take a layer of your prop away. And just checking that the breath is still going nice and fluidly. Again, it doesn't have to be a full breath. It doesn't have to be a heavy, forced breath. Just make sure that it's going down to the belly and up to the chest, that you're not just breathing up in the chest. The breath is helping you to relax, to find space in the body. Trying to be aware of where you have your support, maybe just on the floor, feeling the sit bones on the floor, feeling the support of the outside of the leg on the floor, or maybe feeling the support of the props. Always just giving in. It's a bit like that sensation if you're tired and you sort of just lean on something. It's the same sort of principle where you're using that support for some sort of relief. Good. When you're ready, we'll slowly come out. So removing, slowly using the hands to move any props out of the way. Good. And then from here, we'll come down to lying on our backs. And we're going to set up for happy baby. And I'll just give you some modifications if you need any. So I'll just show you happy baby, because I know, as you probably all know, happy baby, we bring our hands on the inside, and you want to try and bring the feet to face outward, and press the hands into the feet into the hands, and then bring the head back down. If you have any trouble here, or if you feel like your sit bones, like your hips come off the floor, you can always place a couple of, maybe one or two props sort of under the hips, to just, not too high, but just to give it maybe a bit of extra support there. That's always an option. So if you feel like your lower back is kind of really close to the floor but not quite, and it's making you strain in your shoulders, because you want to be able to relax your head, relax the neck and the shoulders. And sometimes when the lower back comes up, that causes it to be a bit more tricky. So there is that option. You might not need it, and that's fine. Or you might want to just try it for today, just to really get that sensation of pressing the lower back into the floor. So you're feeling the back nice and long, and you're really just bending from the elbows, drawing the, opening up the hips. And just trying to make the hip, that opening nice and wide. And coming to stillness. And you can even feel for sort of slowly, like gently pressing the lower back into the floor. Maybe just slightly, just to get that feeling of the length of the spine on the floor. Inviting the knees down. So if you can, holding the feet on the insides of the feet, yeah, you just get a better grip, I think. Easier to open up, yeah, and try to relax the shoulders. And again, you're flexing the feet here, so you can think about gently pressing the heels away, and drawing the toes closer down towards the floor. And bending the knees. Yes, and just really feel for that length in the spine, relaxing in the lower back, using the prop there. If you have it, feeling that support again. Good. Observing any sensations that you feel, maybe in the hips. Maybe you can feel a bit more relaxation, a bit more space, a bit more ease in the posture. Feeling the back of the head, feeling the connection between the back of the head and the lower back on the floor. These 2 points anchored into the floor. You're nice and stable here. Just opening, gently opening the hips, gently pressing the hands into the floor, into the feet, and the feet into the hands. Sending the heels towards the ceiling, the toes down towards the floor. But really not trying to do too much, so not working with your muscles, not working with the muscular effort, not pushing too much. Really pressing the lower back into the floor, feeling the length in the spine and the relaxation in the shoulders. Complete stillness. Softness in the breath. Good. Slowly we'll come out, so slowly release the feet down to the floor. If you do have your prop under your hips, so just lifting the hips and sliding the feet, the prop out to the side. And then from here, we'll just roll onto one side. Good. And we'll make our way up to standing. Good. So here, if you have lots of props, I'd recommend using them because we're going to come into a forward fold. But if you can, don't worry if you don't, it doesn't matter if you don't, but if you want to, you can have the option of stacking your props quite high so that you can rest your head on your props. But as I said, don't worry if you don't have enough cushions or props. It's not completely necessary. So it's just nice to feel what it's like to have that support. So what we'll do, just like in any other forward fold, we will have our feet in about shoulder width apart. And we just want to think about hinging forward from the hips, sending the hips back and just really lengthening, keeping that length through the spine. So it's like you're bringing the belly towards the thighs and then relaxing. The head's the last thing to come down. So if your head reaches your prop here, then great, just relaxing. Yeah. If you don't have enough props, don't worry. Just come into a normal forward fold and your head will just relax down as normal. Yeah. But if you can stack them high enough, just feeling that support for your head. And then just coming to stillness. Good. And it's okay, you don't have to completely straighten the legs if you have tight hamstrings and it feels too much. You can keep a micro bend in the legs. And just try to think about sending your hips up towards the ceiling as you relax the head down. And also try to relax the thighs so you're not gripping in the thighs. And try to relax the backs of the legs. So you really are just dangling in this position. Is wherever you kind of are is fine. You don't have to feel like you need to push anything. You're just absolutely being where you are. And coming to stillness. You can also rest your hands on your prop if that feels like something you might want to do. Or you can just have them down towards the floor. And just thinking about sending your hips up, relaxing the head down. And of course, coming out of the position at any moment if it feels too much. But really remembering you're 80%, so not forcing anything. Just really enjoying any support you have, any sensations. Making sure the shoulders are relaxed and that you're still breathing. Maybe trying to see if you can feel the breath all the way down to the belly. Just trying to make sure that the weight on the feet is also in the balls of the feet, not just on the heels. You're inviting the body to come forward and you are supported by your prop. And slowly we'll come out. So you might want to bend your knees and just sink your hips and just going really, really slowly, keeping the head down. The head should be the last thing to come up, but really do take your time. So we've been down there for a little while. Taking your time really slowly, good. And finally, we're going to come into a supported squat. Well, it's an option to be supported here. So we're going to come down into a squat. And there's an option to have a cushion, something of the same size, under each heel. You might not need it, and that's fine. And we'll just have our feet just a bit wider than hip distance apart, and then coming down. So I would really, if you find this difficult at all, or you find when you're here it's not so nice, feel free to use something under the ankles. If you're fine and you quite enjoy it, then that's absolutely fine. And just if you do come down, try to keep your spine long, so you're not collapsing. You're not sort of collapsing like this. You're keeping the spine long, so energy out of the top of the head, and maybe using the elbows on the insides of the knees to keep the hips nice and open. And just coming back to your breath, and again finding stillness. Maybe pushing the hands together and keeping the spine long, drawing the shoulder blades down the back. Keeping the breath nice and steady. And just being as still as you can here. And close your eyes if you feel confident. And just scanning the body, observing any sensations you feel. What feels hard, what feels easy? Where do you feel more space? Good. And slowly we'll come out. So if you want to, you can just bring the hands forward, maybe walk the hands forward and come onto your knees. And then from here, we'll set up for Shavasana. So if you have a blanket, feel free to use that. And also another option, which can be nice, is to give something, putting a block or two cushions under each knee, just giving the lower back a bit of extra support. And then just bringing the feet about as wide as the mat, or a bit wider. And just making sure you're nice and comfortable. And slowly coming to lying down on your back. Again, if it is really tight in your lower back, feel free to bend the knees. You don't need to keep them there. And then just resting the arms down by the sides, palms facing up. And just closing the eyes. And coming into corpse pose. And just trying to be as still as you can here. Relaxing as much as you can, trying to let go of any tension, just checking that the thighs are relaxed, the feet are flopped out to the floor, out to the outside. Thighs are relaxed, feeling the whole body supported by the floor. Just being as still as you can. Just noticing your breath. And you can maybe visualize the body just lying completely still here. Maybe imagine you're watching your body from above. What do you see? Is it a relaxed body? From below, on the sides. It's not asking anything of the body here, just to be completely still. And just practicing keeping the mind still as well, by just choosing not to engage in any thoughts, choosing not to get carried away with any streams of thinking, and just being aware of your thoughts and choosing not to engage with them. Just being aware of the physical sensations in the body. What feels warm, what feels cold, any tingles, any sense of openness, any tightness or tiredness. Just enjoying this conversation with the body, noticing what you feel on a deeper level. And then we'll just begin to deepen our breath, breathing down to our bellies, through your belly, rise and fall. And then slowly bringing your knees out to the side and draw the knees into the chest. And just give the knees a little squeeze, feeling the lower back nice and relaxed on the floor. Maybe gently rocking from side to side if that feels comfortable. And then slowly rolling onto one side and then making your way up to sitting. Just take your time, no need to rush. Good. Good. And then we'll just do a little thing where we just bring our hands together. Excuse me. And just rub the hands really fast together so they get nice and warm. Good. And then we'll bring our hands onto our eyes and just cup the eyes with the hands and just feeling that warmth going into the eyes here. And keep your eyes closed if you like. And then slowly bring the hands down the face and you can open the eyes and bring them into prayer. Good. Well done, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed today's class. If you have any questions about anything, just feel free to stay on them and I'll answer them. Okay.
Like a bird on a tree,